Hi, hello people, wherever you are on this breathtaking planet. I hope you're doing well wherever you are. Welcome to my channel on Bible topics. But I always like to say, wherever your affiliation, you are welcome to stay because on this channel, I don't bang you upside your head trying to make you do something that you don't want to do. I'm just talking about principles that's laid down in the Bible. So I'm not getting super religious. I'm not thumping my Bible. I'm not doing all that. I'm talking in a rational tone. You see my title? A dim-witted people. Okay. A lot of ministers, whether it be Muslims, Judaism, Christianity, Hindu, Buddhist, whatever, they don't like to talk about people. They don't like to say you dim-witted, you dumb, you stupid. They don't talk about that. The religious people of the world, they just like to try to build you up. But God has actually said out of his own mouth, there is a group of people who dim-witted, who dumb, who don't love knowledge. Preferably, he was talking about the children of Abraham, but that applied to other people. But you know, the whole Bible, from Genesis to Revelation, is really about the children of Israel or the descendants of Abraham. God has set out his mouth that you lack knowledge. He didn't ever say dim with it, but you know what I mean. If you don't lack knowledge and you don't know, you're dim wit. So jump right in and see what the Bible has to say. All right. So let's go to the next slide. Now, before I do that, there's a group of people on the planet, I'm not going to say no name, who say they are, well, they don't go around saying it. I never heard now one of them say, I'm the chosen people. They don't say that. You just say, I belong to this certain group. Other people like to say, so the people in this group, you never once yelled out, we the descendants of Abraham. I don't even hear you saying that. I never heard you say, we the chosen people. I never heard that. It's other people who go around saying, you the children of Abraham. Other people go around saying, you the people of God. They don't even say we the people of God. They don't even go that far. So I'm not even going to blame them. I got to get off of that and blaming them for so and so. For the most part, they don't go around saying X, Y, and Z. Especially the Christians, especially in America, the Protestants, they go around and saying these people are so and so. But here we see they love learning. They're not dim with it. Once more, learning, not dim with it, not slow. They take an active part. They're curious. You see, they're not dim with it. You know about him. He's a distinguished scientist. So people in this group, many of the people from this group are doctors, lawyers, attorneys. They run Hollywood. They high-flung businessmen. So this group of people, they're not dim with it. This group, who I'm not going to name, who you know I'm talking about, they have doctors, lawyers, attorneys, professors, business people, and it goes on and on. So they're not dim with it. Not dim with it. Right here, here's a doctor from this group of people. You see, he got a little cap on, so you know who I'm talking about. But I'm not going to say no names, but you know what I'm talking about. He's a doctor, so he's not dim with it. So we're going to see who God talks about who's dim with it. Now our journey begins. This coming from Psalms 111, verse 10. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. So if you want wisdom, you want true knowledge, you want true understanding, that's the beginning of it. The fear of the Lord. A good understanding have all they that do his commandments. So if you want to have wisdom, you want to get a level of understanding, then you better obey his commandments. And nobody don't say that today. I don't hear no one talking about the 10 commandments. Do you? At least there's others, but God said at least keep those 10. At least those 10. His praise endureth forever. This coming from Proverbs chapter 1, verse 3 to 8. To receive the instruction of wisdom, justice and judgment and equity, to give stability To the simple, okay, or the dim-witted. To the young man, knowledge and discretion. A wise man will hear. That's what a wise man will do. They keep their mouth shut and will increase learning. When you keep your mouth shut, you're willing to learn. And the man of understanding shall attain unto wise counsels. Wise people choose wise counselors. To understand a proverb and their interpretation, the words of the wise, and their dark sayings. Okay, dark sayings. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. If you want knowledge, fear God. And it don't mean be terrified of him. It's a respectful fear. You fear God by keeping his commandments. At least you keep those 10. You fear God by attempting to keep his Sabbath day. The Hebrews, the true Israelites, we cursed right now. Like I was telling some people, we curse right now because we can't even keep the Sabbath day. And the Sabbath day of Saturday. And God gave you a clue that the Sabbath day is Saturday because it got S-A in it. Sunday don't have no parts of the Sabbath. It don't have no parts of the spelling of Sabbath. But Saturday do. So the children of God, wherever they are on this planet, they curse right now because they take the Gentile ways. Now the Gentiles, they can choose Sunday because they're the pagan. They're the Gentiles. Even though they may be Christians and believers in God, they still Gentiles. They take whatever they want to. But God told the children of Abraham, keep the Sabbath day. Over and over, especially in the Torah, the laws of Moses, especially there, he kept saying, keep the Sabbath. And I believe that was the first commandment. Somebody can correct me on that, but I think that was the first one. Keep the Sabbath. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom. Okay, that's the dimwit. And we're going to see that after this, it's going to start talking about them dimwitted people. But fools despise wisdom and instruction. Yep, we're going to see the dim-witted people of God don't accept wisdom. They don't fear God, and they don't want instruction. My son, hear the instruction of thy father, and forsake not the law of thy mother. Your mother, if she's a godly woman, her law is the law of God's. Those simple commandments he gave us. And God says not. I heard one time some person said a 692 laws. 692. God say, I gave you, out of God's mouth, he said, I gave you simple laws, those 10. God never said nothing about those 692. Humans, they always mess it up. Humans say 692, but God said, I gave you simple laws to keep. 10 laws are simple. Okay, now we get into the dim-witted people. First we saw the people who allege the Protestants say they're the people of God. Now, one of them seemed to be dim-witted. Then I read you scriptures on what is a wise person. What's a wise person? What's a knowledgeable person? Now we're going to start talking about those dimwits. Hosea 4:6. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. So that means they don't have no dealing with God. Because if you want knowledge, you have to deal with God. Because thou hast rejected knowledge, reject God, I will also reject you. Like today, he's rejected his people for the most part. Thou shalt be no priest to me, seeing thou hast forgotten the law of God, those simple 10 commandments and the Sabbath day. I will also forget thy children, which he has done to this very day, because the children of Israel, their children get shot right in the street. The children of Israel, their children like to kill each other, especially the males. Especially the males. They get shot in the street from time to time. They don't get shot in the street from what I know every day, but at least 3 times a year we hear it on the media. But right now, mostly in these cities, they definitely killing each other. So God said, I'm going to get you. You can't keep the Sabbath day. You can't keep the simple laws. You don't want knowledge and understanding about obeying me. Okay, I'm going to hand you over. So we see right there, the dim-witted person, destroyed for lack of knowledge. You don't want to read. Don't want to read. Don't want to think. It's coming from Isaiah 5:13. Therefore my people are gone into captivity. Okay, right now. The children of Israel are in captivity right to this day. Because God say, if you was brought to a land as slaves, I'm not going to call a country out, people. He said, if you was brought to the country as slaves and you never went home, you're still in the land of your captivity. I don't care how many rights the country gave you. You was brought as slaves, you still there. No matter what they do to try to appease you, you still in the land of your captivity. Therefore, my people are gone into captivity. Yes. Because they had no knowledge. Don't want to read. Don't want to think. Don't want to keep the Sabbath. Don't want to keep the simple 10 Commandments. Don't want to do that. And their honorable men are varnished. That means the people who was distinguished, who try to lift you up, they've been killed in the streets. And we have a number of them. Killed. Die of old age. Without being known. Are varnished. And their multitude dried up with thirst. See? In a way, those people are still thirsty for liberation. Still thirsty. But you don't like knowledge. You don't like the laws of God. So, in your land of captivity, you still will be persecuted to a degree. Not as worse as it once was, but you still being persecuted. This coming from Job 36:12. But if they do not obey, they shall perish by the sword, which is happening. You don't want to obey, you shall perish. And you don't have to be killed by the sword. You can be killed by health issues. The group that I belong to, and the country that I belong to, they're the number one people who have hypertension, high blood pressure, diabetes, high on the list. There's some things that's worse than being killed by the sword, because when the sword kills you, you dead in a couple hours or a couple days. And sometimes you die quickly from the sword. When you have the hypertension, high blood pressure, diabetes, that lasts for decades. And they shall die without knowledge. Once more, you're going to die dimwit. You don't want to obey me? Don't want to keep my Sabbath? Don't want to keep the little simple commandments? Don't want to try to keep my holy days? Okay, you're going to die without knowledge and your land of your captivity. So we see the dimwit, the things that happen to the dimwit. You don't like knowledge? You don't like learning? So you're a dimwit. Nobody don't talk about this type of stuff. They don't preach this. Numbers 14:2. Now we're going to get into the children of Israel. How they flagrantly showed their dim-witted, unwise, unknowledgeable behavior. We're going to see how they really act. I said people don't be talking about how the Israel act. The people who like to keep bragging about so-and-so the people of God, so-and-so the people of God, they don't never talk about how they act with Moses. How terrible they act with Moses. Nobody ever talk about that. Just try to lift them up to the light like they God's angels. All the sons of Israel grumbled. See, there we go. We're seeing them. How can you be wise? Wise people don't grumble. Knowledge people don't grumble. Israel grumbled against Moses and Aaron. And all of them, congregation said to them, would that we had died in the land of Egypt, or that we had died in this wilderness, because they didn't get what they want. They will never trust God. They never trust Moses. Always complaining, as you will see. The dimwits, as you all know, dimwits love grumbling. They love complaining. Exodus 16:2. The whole congregation, I mean everybody. I better say, no, there were some upstanding men in Israel. Just a few, maybe 100 or so was good on the side of God. So I can't say the whole congregation, but it means mass, basically the whole thing. The whole congregation of the sons of Israel grumbled once more to dimwit against Moses and Aaron and the wilderness, because they was not getting what they want when they want it. When you're dealing with God, you gotta wait on God's time. They didn't get what they want when they want it, so they did dimwit behavior. Grumbled. Wise people don't grumble. Knowledge people don't grumble. Only the dimwits love grumbling. Numbers 11:1. Now the people became like those who complain of adversity. There we go, complaining. in the hearing of the Lord. See, they complain right in God's hearing. And when the Lord heard it, see, God heard them grumbling. His anger was kindled. See, he was pissed off. And the fire of the Lord burned among them and consumed some of the outskirts of the camp. So sad to say, God only going to take so much. Hold up. See, when you meet God face to face or you hear him directly, he don't play with you. Like, for instance, Zechariah. I like to talk about him. When that angel came to Zechariah, he doubted the angel. The angel didn't play with him. The angel said, you're not going to speak until your son born. So keep that in mind, people. We better be glad that people like to say they want to hear God and see God. You better not be rushing to see God, because when he tell you something, you better do it. If you don't, he gonna come down hard on you because you have seen and heard him. The people in Israel, they heard God. They saw him in the fire. They saw him in the cloud. They saw what he did to Egypt. So when they complain, God, he gets angry real fast with you. Real fast. Numbers 21:5. Now, here we go. This is important. The people spoke against God and Moses. See, here we go right here. They complained with God and Moses. They know he was the creator. They know his power level. They know what God could do, but yet they still spoke against him. They still complained. They still had dim-wit mentality. Why have you brought us up out of Egypt? See, now they want to go back to Egypt to die in the wilderness or the desert. For there is no food and no water, and we loathe this miserable food. See, they talk about the manna. See, God, nearly every day, he rained down manna from heaven to feed them. And you know how it is with people. You know we like a certain thing for a certain time limit. I may eat Hershey's bars for several weeks and I get tired of it. So, but instead of approaching God in a more respectful, because it said respect God, instead of approaching him in a respectful manner, they say, Lord, can you give us something different to eat because we want to try something different? No, they didn't act like that respectful. They became dimwits. They started complaining against God and Moses. See? Dimwit behavior. Numbers 14, 20, 23. Then the Lord said, I have pardoned them. See, many times when they kept complaining and complaining against God, he just overlooked it. Sometimes he got rid of them, but most of the time he just overlooked it. According to your word, because Moses kept begging God, don't blot them out of existence. If you kill them all, the people in Egypt and around the world are going to say, look what God has done. He put them to the desert just to kill them. That's what Moses said to God. But truly as I live, and as all the earth shall be filled with the glory of the Lord, none of the men who have seen my glories, like I said, you better be careful when you see God and hear him, and my signs that I did in Egypt and in the wilderness, and yet have put me to the test. And he kept testing God all the time with their dimwit behavior, complaining. These 10 times, see, they tested God not once, not twice, not 3 times. No, they tested God 10 times and have not obeyed my voice. See, the unwise, the unknowledgeable, the person who don't love knowledge, they don't listen to God. The children of Israel, they did not listen to God, so they was not wise. They was not knowledgeable. They were dimwits. Shall see the land that I swore to give to their fathers. And none of those who despise me shall see it. See, when you act like a dimwit, you basically despising God. What is meant by these 10 times that they have despised me? 10 times. That's it, my people, on this little lesson about here about dim-wit behavior. And before I go, I think I'm going to look right on YouTube and see the definition of a dimwit. Let's see right now. I'm going to type it in. Dimwit. Let's see what it says. Definition. A stupid or mentally slow person. And I'm gonna see if I can get a better definition too. Definition. I'm gonna get a better definition, a more lengthy one. Yeah, let's see before I go. It's still the definition don't even get lengthy. It's still short. A stupid or slow thinking person. Just what I said. The people who God was talking about, since you can't obey his commandments, you can't keep the Sabbath day, you don't want to respect God, so you're basically stupid or slow thinking. That's the definition of a dimwit. Thank you for stopping by. Heavenly Father, as always, thank you for giving us another day of life. Thank you for giving us our breath and a strong, healthy body. I pray that the people who have listened to this message understand that the children of Israel from God perspective were dimwits. He said they lack knowledge and they lack wisdom. They was not doctors, lawyers, attorneys. They were slow, dimwit, and didn't listen. Thank you for stopping by in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Till the next time, listener, peace.